Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live interactive web television. This is your own platform where you can engage and interact with us as we discuss various issues. You can just click on a participation request button to talk to us live through Google Hangout or Skype. You can send us your posts, your video comments, and of course your tweets at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. Well, we have had a very busy weekend, and in fact the northeastern deluge, the flash floods and landslides were to quite an extent ignored by the media. But what was really the spotlight of Indian news this weekend was Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the US. Well, today and tomorrow we will be discussing various aspects of his visit. Tomorrow we will do an overall roundup, but today we are going to specifically focus on his first address to the United Nations General Assembly. Well, on Friday, Pakistan Premier Nawaz Sharif, of course, once again raised the K word. He said that the Kashmir issue must be resolved, and he sought the support of the international community. But Mr. Narendra Modi had a reply to that. First, let's take a look at what Nawaz Sharif said at the UNGA.
We were disappointed at the cancellation of the Foreign Secretary level talks by India. The world community too rightly saw it as another missed opportunity. Pakistan is convinced that we must remain engaged in the dialogue process for settling disputes and building economic and trade relations. Let us not ignore the dividends of peace. Mr. President, more than 6 decades ago, the United Nations passed resolutions to hold a plebiscite in Jammu and Kashmir. The people of Jammu and Kashmir are still waiting for the fulfillment of that promise.
All right, now Narendra Modi issued a sharp rebuke, and he said that India is ready to engage with Pakistan on Kashmir, but not under the shadow of terrorism. Here's what he said.
मैं पाकिस्तान से मित्रता और सहयोग बढ़ाने के लिए पूरी गंभीरता से शांतिपूर्ण वातावरण में बिना आतंक के साये के साथ द्विपक्षीय वार्ता करना चाहता हूं, लेकिन पाकिस्तान का भी यह दायित्व है कि उपयुक्त वातावरण बनाए और गंभीरता से द्विपक्षीय बातचीत के लिए सामने आए। और इस मंच पर बात उठाने से समाधान के प्रयास कितने सफल होंगे, इस पर कईयों को शक है। आज हमें बाढ़ से पीड़ित कश्मीर के लोगों को सहायता देने पर ध्यान देना चाहिए।
All right, so Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi is saying that Pakistan must take responsibility to create an appropriate environment for talks, and he also said that raising this issue, once again internationalizing the Kashmir issue was pointless when there are so many other issues, pressing issues facing the world. You will remember that India and Pakistan have been involved in a war of words since last month when New Delhi cancelled the Foreign Secretary level talks after Pakistan's envoy in India, Abdul Basit, met Kashmiri separatists. Well, we are going to talk about that speech, of course, not just the Kashmir issue, but other points that he made in its entirety. And joining me online, I have Shehzad Poonawala. Shehzad is a member of the Congress. Shehzad, thank you so much for joining India Post Live. We have Vineet Goenka. Vineet is the co-convener of the IT cell and of BJP, and he joins us from Mumbai. Hi Vineet, how are you?
I'm good.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for talking to us. I can see you beaming from year to year. Of course, after that Narendra Modi speech at Madison Square Garden, which every channel hailed and, all of that, I can see you beaming. We are going to talk a little bit about that, but we will essentially focus on the UNGA today. Tomorrow, we'll discuss the rest of it. We also have from Karachi, Abdullah Nizmani. He is a lawyer and he follows the international politics very keenly. Abdullah, thanks so much for talking to us again on India Post Live. Great having you back.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. We also have some good news. We also have a participation request that happened as we were starting the show. He is Yogesh and he joins us from Gurgaon. Hi, Yogesh. Yogesh, can you hear me? Welcome to India Post Live. Okay, Yogesh, I think you'll have to unmute your button. You can hear me, but I can't hear you, I think. All right, we'll get back to you. First, let me go to Vineet, who joins us from Mumbai. Okay, I think Vineet's video, I can't... Vineet? All right, I can't see Vineet's video. Okay, let me talk to Shehzad. Shehzad, your first reaction at the UNGA speech? Shehzad? Okay, we seem to have lost Shehzad's connection. We'll try and connect. Abdullah. Okay, Abdullah, if you can hear me, Nawaz Sharif once again raised the issue of Kashmir, and once again the Indian Prime Minister said that the conditions must be conducive. We cannot have talks under the shadow of terrorism. Your reaction to that, Abdullah, your first comments on the two speeches?
Well, as Modi ji said that UNGA was not a proper forum for Nawaz Sharif or Pakistan to raise the Kashmir issue.
Right.
I think UNGA is the proper forum to raise Kashmir issue, since the UNGA passed Kashmir self-determination in 1948. So it was, I think, proper forum to raise the issue. And as Modi ji said that Pakistan must peace talk between the two countries, I think it applies to India as well, because India's intervention in Balochistan is not getting properly. Pakistan has Balochistan with India at secretary level and at foreign minister meeting level. So I think India should also play its part in peace.
All right, India should also play its part. India should not keep skirting the issue. That's Abdullah's first comment. Okay, Vineet, are you there? There you are.
Yeah.
There you are. Great, thanks. We had lost your video for a second. Vineet, your first reaction to Mr. Narendra Modi's strong rebuke to Mr. Nawaz Sharif's statement on Kashmir. Your opening comments, Vineet.
See, last few weeks, rather last 3-4 months, we are trying to do. If you see, Narendra Bhai, when he sworn in, he actually got all the SHARC nations together, and he was the first Prime Minister in the world who actually talked to the neighbors before even being sworn in.
Right.
So now our sincere efforts are to take the neighbors along with us. And one of them is that we should have a strong relationship and we should not go to the third party. Taking this issue in the UN actually spoils the atmosphere. We cannot discuss things in the shadow of terrorism. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And originally, Modi ji was not supposed to speak on this. He was going to speak on larger issues and different issues. But I think Nawaz Sharif ji toned down the relevance of the entire meeting. After he did that, then the Prime Minister had to respond back, and he responded accordingly.
But Vineet, this happens every year. I mean, every year in the UNGA, Pakistan brings up Kashmir, and every year in the UNGA, India says we cannot have talks till terrorism ceases. What was new this year? What was new?
See, it is nothing new. I will have to request my counterpart from Pakistan and also the people in Pakistan that terrorism helps nobody. Both the sides of Kashmir right now are suffering from floods. What the request Prime Minister has made and what the request the country, citizens of this country has, that please focus on your own internal issues, solve them. There are a lot of issues there in Balochistan, there are a lot of issues within Pakistan, solve them. Why are you trying to meddle into the issues which is within our country? And there is no issue. If you go to Jammu and Kashmir, people are really happy. I have visited that place. I've seen them. There are some couple of people, dozens of people who talk about separating and something like that. But an average Kashmiri is very much happy in this thing. So it was wrong on the side of the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Maybe there are homegrown compulsions for him.
All right.
Maybe he is under some pressure from the military establishment of Pakistan. We do not want to have any kind of hostile engagements. We are more pro for talks, and I personally believe, and the Prime Minister believes that talks will help us to grow together.
Right. Absolutely. Let me bring in Shehzad now. Shehzad, the member of the Congress. Hi, Shehzad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, my connection is more unreliable than Mr. Modi's promises.
Why do you say that, Shehzad? Shehzad, because the Indian Prime Minister has not
I
said
say that
anything
precisely
which
because,
Dr. Manmohan Singh has not said before. He said the same thing. He said talks cannot happen in the shadow of terrorism. He said the same thing.
No, actually, Mr. Modi, no, if I can, before the internet connection breaks, Mr. Modi gone and said a lot of things that even Dr. Manmohan Singh wouldn't have said. For instance, Pakistan has spoken about plebiscite at United Nations again.
Yeah.
And this is a change from that position, which was originally in the Shimla agreement and Lahore declaration that they would only keep it between a bilateral agreement between India and Pakistan. So they're going back to their position of plebiscite. Now, when that has been said at the United Nations Forum, it was incumbent of the Prime Minister of India to first and foremost reiterate that Kashmir indivisible part of India. Have you seen Mr. Modi say that? Do the BJP and Mr. Modi feel any kind of qualms in accepting that Kashmir is an integral part of India and an indivisible part of India? It was a historical blunder for him not to have said it. Secondly, he referred to Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is an illegal occupation of Kashmir, as Pakistan Kashmir. He kept calling it that at the United Nations. It is a complete blunder to give away territory which Pakistan is holding illegally back to Pakistan as if they have a legitimate right on it. Thirdly, when Pakistan spoke about the United Nations Permanent Security Council not being expanded, why hasn't India said in as many words that we want the Security Council to be expanded and India to be included in that? That is our demand and our right, and we've been back on it again and again. And Manmohan Singh got the African countries to back us. Why has Mr. Modi climbed down from these positions? I think the reference to Pakistan occupied Kashmir as Pakistan's Kashmir, the reference to not saying that Kashmir is an indivisible, integral part of India, these are historical blunders, and I think Mr. Modi has once again reiterated that style cannot always make up for substance.
All right. Would you like to respond to that, Vineet? All right, I think we have lost Vineet's video there. Yogesh joins us from Gurgaon. Yogesh, would you like to respond to what the two leaders have said?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, hi Vineet, I think we're back. Hi all, hi Shajan. Look, can you hear me? I can't hear my voice actually. So
I can hear you, go on.
So look, I've just seen this on the Vineet Facebook and joined. So, point is that I didn't come here to, talk about what Modi said, what he didn't. I don't know, Shehzad, what you are looking at. Point is that he has made us proud, whatever he has said, and the Pakistan was almost a non-issue, which he just wanted to point out because it has been raised before. Another important thing is that what he actually pointed out that the UN is getting irrelevant, and whether it's about India, it's about Pakistan or anybody else. And I think as an Indian culture, we have seen that right from the beginning when we were kids. I think if you know Hindi, हमें बोला जाता था कभी चुगली नहीं करना, आपस में मामला सुलझाने हैं. So I don't know whether our upbringing is like this, that we don't really go to other people and solve the matters, which is typically a two people matter. So I think point here is that what Modi says that one, he has made us proud at the platform, it was a global one. Two, what he said was more important in a global context. Three, Pakistan as a country is bilaterally, it's important at a global level. is just another neighbor that we have, and we want to have a good relation. That's what he said. I don't think that we need to make Shahzad is very important. That we need to, see what he should say and what he should not say. One more important point which he came out is about the Indian stature in Indian culture. Like he talked about yoga, which is really important. People are looking at it. You see that most of the Indian gurus are being considered as one of the prominent icon across the world, and it's just because of the yoga and other cultural things that they take from India to those part of the world. And this is what Modi is trying to do. And I think we all should, he made us proud. And that's all I want to put in.
So the image building is what you're talking about. All right, let me bring in Abdullah Nizmani over here. Abdullah, you just heard what Abdullah? Okay, there you are.
Yeah,
okay, hi. Okay, you just heard what our leaders here and our very good citizen Yogesh from Gurgaon had to say. People believe, I mean, despite differences between political parties, everybody believes that this is a bilateral issue, and one should not really take it to the level of the UN. What is your reaction to that?
Before answering your question, I think I should make a comment over what Shahzad has said. As Shahzad said that he probably the contract. He's saying that Pakistan is holding Pakistani Kashmir illegally. Well, let me tell that Pakistani Kashmir is an autonomous part in Pakistan. It has its own Supreme Court. It has its own Prime Minister cabinet and everything. It has its own. Pakistan is legally. It's the Kashmiris living in Pakistan who want their who want to stay with Pakistan unless the issue is decided. As you said that Pakistan and Kashmir, the Kashmir issue is a bilateral issue, and it should not be taken to the United Nations. As I said earlier, that United Nations passed the resolution of self-determination of Kashmiris in 1948. It's been more than 7 decades almost. So I think rather than you cannot Pakistan to take this Kashmir issue to Provincial Assembly of Pakistan. Obviously, to take Kashmir issue at the UN level if India is not ready to Kashmiri plight.
All right. Shehzad, you had a point to make while your internet lasts.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond. I just wanted to respond and tell Abdullah that you are an illegal occupation of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, because if you go by the plebiscite agreement itself, it first said that you will take your troops, terrorists and whatever else is there in that part of Kashmir out of there, and then there can be a plebiscite. So you're in violation of that own agreement if you want to go by that one. But that agreement is a very old one. After we fought couple of wars, there was a Shimla agreement and Lahore declaration that is agreed to by both India and Pakistan, which makes it amply clear, it's signed on dotted lines, that there will be no multilateral intervention. It will be only and only a bilateral intervention on Kashmir. So whether you have a Supreme Court or you don't have an arrangement, whatever you have their autonomy, I don't even see you having elections there every 6 years like we have in Indian Kashmir. So please don't give me the spiel about how you're trying to, give an autonomy. Bilawal Bhutto got the cat out of the bag when he said that you will bring Kashmir into Pakistan. We all know what is Pakistan's intentions at the end of the day. You all don't want any Azad Kashmir there. If you wanted Azadi for the Kashmiri, you would come out and help them in the floods.
All right. Abdullah, how seriously did you take Bilawal Bhutto's statement? What was the reaction to Bilawal Bhutto's statement now that Shehzad has brought it up?
Bilawal, as far as Kashmir is concerned, is just teenager and
Okay.
taking serious as far as Kashmir is concerned, at least in Pakistan. But let me tell you that Pakistani Kashmir is an Afghan Kashmir, what Kashmir has in India.
Okay, Abdullah, I'm not able to get your audio very clearly. Just hang on. We'll try and get your audio back. Vineet, are you still there?
Yes, very much.
Vineet, let's moving on a little bit. Okay, we don't have your audio, but
You can hear me. Can you hear me?
yeah. Can you switch on your webcam? Your webcam seems to be off.
It's on.
Acha, I'll continue. He talked of sustainable growth. He said that when we already have a UN, then why do we have the G groups? Why do we have the G8s and why do we have the other groups? It should be a G all. What exactly did he mean by that? What do you think his vision is as far as this statement is concerned?
We are talking about a responsible UN. We are talking about a participative mechanism within the UN. What has happened in the last 6 decades, UN has become a little bit of irrelevant. There are only 5 security permanent positions seats in the Security Council, and they talk what is in interest to them, and they have become little irrelevant. You have seen that there have been conflicts in various areas of the world where various geographies go into dispute, and these 5 particular seats, then as per their own will and need, take participation. So there should be a bigger and larger thing. India has grown big, has become responsible. We are one of the responsible democracies in the world. You see them, and so India's claim to the permanent seat has to be talked about. So, why should we have G10, G8, this, G, that? They're all one, right? We should be having G all. That's why everybody comes together. If you have a UN, then you start having G 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It makes the GN to drop. So the whole idea was that it should be a larger group. It should work in the interest of humanity. The actual charter of UN should be put forward.
Right. Okay. Shehzad, you had a point?
No, actually the empty chairs in the United Nations General Assembly during Modi's speech is a testament to the intellectual bankruptcy that he brought to that speech in the United Nations. You see, G group, the G20, G8, G5, all of these groups are mostly economic. United Nations is concerned, when he was sitting and giving a speech, that was the General Assembly, which is G193. I mean, has he taken cognizance of that? Secondly, as far as the Permanent Security Council is concerned, that Permanent Security Council is the only group of 5 countries which has a veto power. It can actually veto the going of another country to war, etc., and political actions of other countries. Now, you want to be there as India. We let go of that opportunity for China once. We want to be in that group. By saying G all, G20 nahi hona chahiye, G all hona chahiye, does he want Pakistan also to be in Security Council? He did not even mention in his speech that India is a rightful claimant because of its population, because of its position in Asia to this position of the United Nations Security Council.
All right. All right. Before we move,
nations are supposed to say that Geo.
Okay, Shehzad. Okay, before we continue, let me take you through some of the salient points of Narendra Modi's speech, his first speech at the United Nations General Assembly, coming up on your screens right now. We will take them a few at a time. He chose to speak in Hindi. He spoke on United Nations peacekeeping missions in Afghanistan. He also mentioned stability in South Asia, Tunisia and Africa. He hoped for a peaceful international environment, asked Pakistan to have serious discussions to tackle terrorism and natural calamities. Terrorism, he said, keeps multiplying or manifests into various forms and no nation is safe from this menace. All right, talking about once again terrorism and Pakistan. Some nations continue to shelter terror groups. All nations need to unite and cooperate to uproot terrorism. We were just discussing why so many G8 groups other than UN, why not move to G-all? And UNSC needs to have a more democratic approach with changes according to the present day world scenario. This is what Vineet was trying to explain to us. Okay, we have a video response from Amara Ahmad, who is a journalist with The Nation. Let's hear what she had to say regarding the speeches of Nawaz Sharif and Narendra Modi at UNGA.
As you know that in the last few months there has been firing and tension along the line of control, and therefore the Modi government has been criticized for taking a soft stance on Kashmir and on Nawaz Sharif's side. When he came on the oath taking of Prime Minister Modi, he deliberately ignored the separatist leaders from Kashmir, and that was a first. So both the parties have been deliberately ignoring this issue. But when the Pakistani envoy in Delhi met the separatist leaders in August and the Modi government cancelled high-level talks with Pakistan, it was clear that now Pakistan was going to bring up this issue in the UN. And as you've seen in the last few weeks, that even Bilawal Bhutto, who is in opposition to Nawaz Sharif, brought this issue up when he visited Punjab in 2 weeks ago, I think. So it is a popular issue in Pakistan, especially in Punjab. There is internal pressure on Nawaz Sharif to bring this issue up and not to bypass it when doing peace talks with India. And for Modi, in his speech in the UN, he has given a clear signal that he doesn't want to take his previous hardline stance, and then there is, room for diplomacy there. So I think it's the water hasn't passed under the bridge.
All right, so Pakistan continues to be a popular issue and cannot be ignored. And once the Foreign Secretary levels talks failed, Amara Ahmed of The Nation, she sent us this video response from Lahore. She said it was but natural and but expected that Nawaz Sharif would take the issue to the United Nations. Vineet, yes, your reaction, Vineet.
I think what Pakistan has something called as OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Whenever they have problems within their home, they start speaking about India.
OCD, Kashmir is an OCD.
A very immature politician of Pakistan comes out with a statement. The Prime Minister of that country should have actually answered him in their own house, rather he bought this house in the EU. I think it was considered immature on the side of Bilawal, and then on the side of Nawaz Sharif that he came out with this in the UN Assembly. I think Modi ji responded it with a lot of restraint and a lot of respect. So let us have some bilateral talk here without the shadows of terrorism. On one side, their GDP, their own economy is going for campus. They have in-house law and order issues. Another side, they are funding terrorism. They are trying to push in people who have decisive and divisive thoughts in Kashmir. So I think my advice to my counterparts in Pakistan and also to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, they should put their house in order. They should tackle own opposition in Pakistan, not to bring their own internal fights on these things in the international thing. If they can come together, we have a very good government. We have sensible Prime Minister, which was not there in the last decade in India. And there is a Prime Minister who is proactive, who has got mandate, which has not been seen in India before. He is very known for development. Let us do whatever we have development on both the side of the borders. Let us grow, make our people better place, and make this country as a better place to live, and this region is a better place to live. We can make actually examples. They have a very, very strong central government, unlike the previous government, which was lacking decision, which was known for corruption, known for no decision making.
Okay, Shehzad and Yogesh, before I take your reaction, let me quickly just inform all our viewers also that Hafiz Saeed, the mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, in fact, he took to social media, he took to Twitter to voice his opinion on what Mr. Modi said at UNGA. Take a look at some of those tweets that he has written. India is herself responsible for instability in the region. Perpetual peace cannot be achieved till the Kashmir issue is resolved. He also, we have Zaid Hamid who said, just because Modi has become Indian Prime Minister, does that mean his direct involvement in the rape and murder of 3,000 Muslims is forgiven? These are reactions that have come in. Hafiz Muhammad Saeed again, Modi's speech is merely throwing dust in the eyes of the world on the atrocities carried out on Kashmiris. This is what the mastermind of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks have had to say. All right. Very quickly, Vineet, before I get in Shehzad to respond.
Do you really want to take this murderer, genocide expert, this kind of terrorism, social media comments seriously? We should downplay them. These people cannot determine fate of the world. There are good people in Pakistan. There are sensible people in Pakistan. Yeah. I think we should speak about that.
Yes.
Not speak about this kind of murderers who are responsible for it. I'm very sure Pakistan has a society which loves peace, which loves development, and let us retweet, let us magnify the messages given by the sensible, educated, civilized society of Pakistan, and not of this kind of dreaded monster on the earth.
Right. Okay. Shehzad. Then I'll bring in Yogesh.
Vineet is right. We must downplay the views of those people who have been behind murderous genocides. I don't know whom he's trying to hint at. I hope it's not something that happened in Gujarat. But then our own Prime Minister sent Vaidik Ji for a back channel negotiation with JUD chief. I mean, so between genocide organizers is not a good thing for either of the countries. Secondly, what I would try to say to Vineet is that it is the flip-flop policy. At the beginning, when there was no need to give sari, shawls and biryani to Pakistan, you went ahead and did that. Then you had to withdraw the foreign secretary level talk. They attacked our parliament and we took a bus yatra to them and we gave them a red carpet in Agra. This policy of flip-flop that the BJP has on Pakistan, that we love you, we hate you, we love you, we hate you, is the reason Pakistan senses it each time when BJP is in power and ups the ante on Kashmir. You take a record, it was only during Manmohan Singh's time that Pakistan acknowledged that they were using the territory to sponsor terrorism against India, and they promised that they would not further non-state actors. And we broke relations and stopped when there was 26/11, and only when we got a commitment from the international community that we went ahead. What was the need for Mr. Modi to go ahead and give a sari and a shawl to Pakistan just to for domestic consumption, or perhaps his own version of bonding with people like Hafiz Saeed? I don't see any reason or any format in which this relationship is going ahead. I think even Mr. Modi is mishandling the situation quite a bit.
Okay, Yogesh, do you want to react to what Shehzad said? Yogesh, you need to unmute your mic. Unmute your mic first. Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Okay, so don't really want to comment on Shehzad because I really don't want to get into a discussion where I'll talk about there's a spelling mistake, there's plus and there's minus. And two is that if you are talking about some UN speech of Mr. Modi, I think we are talking about something really big where we have taken our country to the next level, where Modi has made us proud. And when we still go to the level of discussing Kashmir, Gujarat and all that, I think what Shehzad really want to bring in, I don't know from where he gets his instruction and speak like this. I will speak my mind, because I don't belong to any either BJP, Congress or anybody. I belong to India. And as an Indian, Modi has made us proud. I have my family who is very
Yogesh, can I ask you a question?
No,
Can I ask you a question for being so self-righteous? Yogesh, since you're being so self-righteous, no, let me just say this, because you're being so self-righteous sitting in Gurgaon, please tell me, if it would have been a Congress Prime Minister who had instructions from, would have jumped at the Prime Minister from the Congress. So when the Prime Minister of India says this, that you just because it happens to be a BJP Prime Minister, we should not have a reaction, and those are spelling mistakes that we are pointing out, I think the self-righteousness can be spared, at least on me. You can give it to somebody else.
Great, Shehzad. I am not giving it to you. It's typically to the congressmen like you. Okay, so point which I want to make is that I have a family which is proud because what Modi has done. I have a lot of friends in US who are really proud because now they can call them as Indians, not from a country where we have rapist, scam and the country of poor, which Manmohan Singh has rightly mentioned with Barack Obama, but with a country who has self-confidence, who has delivered, they have performed and they have ability to take things forward. And we are looking at future. With people whom I am talking to, I don't know, they want to take us back. And I don't want to go back.
All right. Yogesh, your point taken. Before we continue, we've had an audio response from Salman Sikandar. Now, Salman Sikandar is a Pakistani based in Amsterdam. He is an engineer, and this is what he had to say regarding the UNGA speech. Listen into what he has to say, and then I'll bring in Abdullah for his final comments.
India is a big country, and I expect India to act like asking for peaceful, asking Pakistan to provide peaceful atmosphere without shadow of terror seems to me kind of childish to me. Because we need to have a peace dialogue, we need to have peace talk.
All right. we need to have dialogue, we need to have peace dialogue, and asking Pakistan as a bigger country, asking Pakistan to remove the shadow of terrorism is immature, says Salman Sikandar from Amsterdam. Vineet, do you think India is being immature? India should be the big brother and be generous? I think that's what Salman wants to say. Have talks irrespective.
See, India has been very matured democracy for the last 66 years, bearing the 2.5 years of democracy. So the world should not advise us what is a mature democracy. Rather, if you see, Pakistan had many coups. They had interferences from non-democratic setups. That's a state where the elected government has a lesser say than the other people in the governance. So, probably my counterpart, the gentleman from Amsterdam, has to understand what India talks is very, very mature. All our prime ministers, whether they are from BJP or any other party, have been very sensible when they went to the international arena. They never talked about anything which is not in the interest of the region. They always saw peace first, prosperity first, rather than having individual greeds or their own needs. So I would request them that the current generation should come out. We will have to come out and see that how we both grow together. We cannot keep on fighting when the West is growing.
Right.
What we'll have to do is to take the best off from the India's democracy. They have to see that we had 15 power changes without a single bullet being fired. They have to learn from us. And then they can speak about what is called as democracy or democracy.
All right. Abdullah, final comments from you before I go on to the next, the last 8 points that Modi made at the UNGA. I would like to take final comments from you, please. After everything that you've heard.
India, after I think Saudi shawl and diplomacy is something that should be appreciated, and it was a part of Modi gesture from Pakistan.
All right, Abdullah, your audio is still not very clear. Your audio is still not very clear. I would request you to please write in to us, send us your post of what you're saying, and we will definitely. But then I got what you're saying. I mean, you've been saying that this. Hello. Okay.
Yeah, is it? Can you hear me?
Your audio is unclear, Abdullah. I'm really sorry. It's not very clear. But okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the other points that emerged from Narendra Modi's speech at the UNGA. Let's leave the K word behind and just move on a little bit. We need to change ourselves in order to achieve the bigger change in the world, need to combat terrorism. All nations must adhere to international laws and treaties. Globalization has increased growth, but issues of poverty, hunger still need attention. And he also addressed issues regarding the need for sanitation, lack of proper drinking water, need for electrification. And he said sustainable development is important. In fact, he said that let us pledge that 2015 will mark the year when we will steer the world in a new direction. Developed nations must help in technology and fund transfers to developing nations. And of course, he called for adopting an International Yoga Day that is a gift from India to the world. The world is passing through an interesting phase. Next year is a great time for UN to introspect. And like I said, the 2015 development agendas, and all nations need to work with complete cooperation and unity. And of course, he has talked of looking at a sustainable world by 2015. These are the points. All right, final comments from you. First, let me get Shehzad's reaction to the last 8 points that we talked about. Shehzad?
See, the commitment of India to United Nations the commitment of India to United Nations, multilateral bodies like WTO or to the Millennium Development Goals. These are not things that Mr. Modi's are Mr. Modi's brainchild. They have been a legacy of the last 60-65 years. And in fact, I must tell you that in fact, after Mr. Modi's come to power, our agreement at WTO has gone haywire, which is actually the reflection of how Mr. Modi cannot work in a multilateral arrangement. So I hope that he walks the talk when he says all these things at the United Nations. And the larger point agenda of United Nations this year, but you have a Prime Minister who on Teachers' Day advises children that climate change is nothing but you getting older and therefore feeling cold and things like this. I don't know how somebody who has such a poor vision of economics, poor vision of science, maybe study from Dinanath Batra's school books, can actually take this country forward in a sustainable way. He calls Pakistani occupied Kashmir as Pakistan. I feel that we have made a mockery of ourselves at an important platform at United Nations, and no wonder the seats were empty and the only people clapping were the people who accompanied Mr. Modi. There were the 2-3 people who roam around with him in his entourage. So I think that itself spoke very highly, and I think we need more sincere and more senior leadership at the top.
Vineet, final comments from you. We will continue this tomorrow. I'm reminding you that we are going to do an overall analysis of his US trip. So I'm kind of not, taking this forward. We are just discussing the UNGA today. We will continue this tomorrow. But your final comments, Vineet.
I have lots of material.
That is a fantastic friend of mine. He is a friend of mine. But I can tell you what happens when somebody is bitten black and blue with 33 crore votes coming to one particular party, 288 seats coming. It's a natural reaction. And otherwise, Shehzad is very sensible. Only today he's got a little lost in all that. Shehzad bhai, this is not Lok Sabha election. We are talking about international issues.
So today Shehzad is not being sensible. Normally he's sensible.
Vineet,
wow, okay.
Vineet, if you've been beaten black and blue for 60 years, you've also been beaten.
What Shehzad tells me. But today somehow...
For 60 years, you've also been beaten black and blue. Was that the reason why you were saying what you were saying?
We have a Pakistani guest.
So I tell you,
Gentlemen.
I would like to make a sensible point. I would like to.
This is the only second election you.
Yeah, Shehzad, I have a small sensible point for my friend from Lahore. Karachi se hai aap. Abdullah ji, can you hear my voice? If you can hear my voice, just raise your hand.
Abdullah?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. मेरा छोटा रिक्वेस्ट है आपसे. हाँ, मैंने क्या करेंगे? जो हो चुका है इसको छोड़ दीजिए. See, you and I have another 40 years, 50 years to lead. What we can do is we can pressurize our politicians, our leaders, create an amicable atmosphere for world to become a better place. I think we have legacy of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Gandhi ji, and all these people who taught us good things in the life rather than getting into a brownie point. My brother, I can request you only one thing on this particular platform. Let us use our power of social media to create an environment where your country and my country comes closer to development. We don't get into petty issues.
All right.
Whatever compulsions may be.
All
I am
right.
ready to extend my hand from here. And same.
Vineet, thank you so much. Vineet, thank you so much. That was your message to Pakistan. Abdullah? Was there only if I can get your audio? Yeah, tell me.
I speak whenever I get chance about the field. But I think India, before propagating peace, it should keep in mind that it should not indulge itself in against Pakistan using Balochistan and Afghanistan. Pakistan and India have many things to do apart from this throwing stone at each other. They can
Right. Let's not throw stones at each other. All right. And work towards an amicable solution is what Abdullah and Vineet is saying. Shehzad, of course, what you talked about, I hope you will be free tomorrow also to take us through what you thought of the entire US visit. Yogesh, your final comments on the UNGA speech. Shehzad said it was, in many ways did not make a lot of sense to him. Your final comments. You need to unmute your mic again.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Very quickly, Yogesh, we are way over time.
Oh yeah, so for UNGA, I would say, I think India is looking at global, and particularly for the discussion which we had about Kashmir, what I would say, I think 90% of Indians, they really don't know what Balochistan issue is.
Yeah.
So, but part of it is this in Pakistan, we are not really aware of. So all we want to say that let's go ahead, let's move forward, let's do business.
Okay, let's do business. Thank you so much. That was a great conclusion to a great show. Thank you so much, Yogesh, Vineet. Thanks a lot for joining. Tomorrow I shall see you, Vineet, and Shehzad too. Tomorrow we are going to discuss the overall US visit. We will definitely talk about his speech at Madison Square Garden. That is something I'm also looking forward to hear from both of you, your views on that. And Abdullah, thank you so much for joining. I hope you can take some time for us tomorrow as well. Thanks so much. The conversation, this particular issue of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States tomorrow, we will be bringing you part 2 of this talk. Today was focusing on UNGA. Please send us your posts, your tweets, your audio and video comments on the talk that we just had. And tomorrow we shall do an overall. Thank you so much, and I would like to thank our guests once again. Take care. Bye-bye.